In the last class, we have discussed about amendment, object of amendment, meaning of amendment. We have discussed in the last class. In continuation with the last class, in which we have discussed about kinds of procedure, types of procedure, simple majority, special majority with the ratification of half of the states. We have discussed in the last class. So, we can understand and we came to know that what is amendment, how it is going to happen, what is the procedure to be followed while amending constitution we have discussed. So in this class we are going to discuss about power of parliament to amend constitution. Power of parliament to amend constitution means in India, as we discussed, who is sovereign, whether the people are sovereign or parliament is sovereign. Because the parliament is a body consisting of people's representatives. We are going to send them on tenure basis, means 5 years. Once in 5 years. So this is the term of Lok Sabha is 5 years. As a representatives of public, do they have unlimited power to amend constitution? Do they means the parliament. Do parliament have unlimited power to amend constitution? Is it limited by any provision of the constitution? Okay. So in this topic we have constitution. Every body of the government has to follow constitution. Same is the case with the legislator also. So while amending constitution, the legislator must know that the limits and limitations of amending constitution, so that the power of parliament to amend constitution, in the beginning, we all know, even in laymen, in general public, they have impression that parliament is having unlimited power to pass any law. But as law students, we all know that we have judicial review under Article 13, which curtails the power of parliament if it passes any law which taking or abridging the fundamental rights under Article 13. We have already discussed that. When it comes to amendment, an amendment is subject to judicial review or not. So, with the passing of 70 years, there are so many developments. Development means here, in the beginning, 1950s, 60s and 70s, and later developments in 80s and mid 70s, there is radical change. There is a radical change in interpreting the power of parliament to amend constitution. So we have given power to amend constitution to the parliament. Okay, once we give that power, is there any limitation on the part of the parliament? Means, is it, though it is not expressly provided in the constitution, the question is, we have chapter called Fundamental Rights in part 3 of the constitution, and we said this part 3 is having great importance in protecting the basic rights of human beings. When it comes to amendment of constitution, do Parliament have power to amend part 3 of the constitution? That is the question. Do Parliament have power to amend the constitution? That is part 3. Because you are saying that this particular part 3, namely fundamental rights, are having great significance and importance and most essential important feature of the constitution. So the question came up before the Supreme Court in the beginning. The question came up before the Supreme Court in the beginning. Whether the power of Parliament is limited or unlimited when it comes to amending constitution. The first time this question came up before Supreme Court, because we are going to discuss about case laws relating to amending power of the Constitution. Okay. So the first case, Shankari Prasad versus Union of India. Shankari Prasad versus Union of India, 1951, Supreme Court, 455. 1951 Supreme Court, 455. Okay. So what is in this case? Whether the fundamental rights can be amended or not. Okay, so in this case what happened? The first amendment to the Constitution in 1951, which inserted inter alia articles 31A, 31B of the Constitution, was challenged. We have discussed about 31A and 31B. Okay. In the last semester, we have discussed 31A and 31B. That was challenged in this case. So when we have discussed about that particular 31A, 31B, we said these are relating to fundamental rights in property rights in fundamental rights regarding land acquisition and selling land and property. And we have discussed, and we at that time, the object of the Parliament to amend this first amendment and inserting these two provisions to protect agrarian reforms. But in that process, what happened? They have taken lands from public. It was the time where the fundamental right is property right. Property right is a fundamental right, 1951. That was challenged in this particular case. When we have inserted these two articles 31A and 31B in this Shankari Prasad case. That was challenged by these land lords. Okay. So, here the contention of the petitioner is, it will fall in 13 clause 2 of article 13 clause 2 of the Constitution, means which speaks about judicial review. Okay. So judicial review means if that particular amendment is under article 368 is a law, if it treated as a law, that will come within the meaning of article 13 clause 2, directly abridging the fundamental rights. On that ground, the petitioner challenged this first amendment. Petitioner challenged first amendment. So, here the argument of petitioner is, the word state in article 12 included Parliament and the word law in article 13.2, therefore must include constitutional amendment. Means that is what their argument. Amendment is also a law under article 13 clause 2, so that can be struck down. That is the argument of petitioner. But Supreme Court rejected, said above argument, and said the power to amend Constitution including fundamental rights is contained in article 368. And what Supreme Court said in this case, the word law in Article 13, Clause 8 includes only an ordinary law made in exercise of legislative powers and does not include constitutional amendment which is made in exercise of constitutional power. Therefore, constitutional amendment will be valid even if it abridges, takes away the fundamental rights. What Supreme Court said? Amendment of Constitution is different from law meaning of Article 13. In Article 13, we have discussed different clauses. What is meant by law? What includes law? We have discussed. So, both are not one and same. Constitutional amendment is different from the law. It is in the meaning of Article 13. So, it is having special significance. Constitutional amendment. When it is not coming into the purview of Article 13, so the court cannot strike down this. So, it is not going to abridge the fundamental rights. The Parliament have power to amend Article 43 through amendment. Okay. In this case, Sankari Prasad versus State. The next case again, Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan. AR 1965. Supreme Court 845. AR 1965. Supreme Court 845. Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan. Again, 17th Amendment Act 1964 was challenged. It inserted certain acts in the 9th schedule. They challenged this particular 17th Amendment in 1964. Again, it was challenged. Supreme Court approved the majority judgment given in Sankari Prasad case. So, they upheld the judgment given in Sankari Prasad case, saying that amendment of Constitution means amendment of all provisions of the Constitution. Amendment of all provisions of the Constitution. The Supreme Court, Gajendra Katkar, CJ, said, if the Constitution makers intended to exclude fundamental rights from the scope of amending power, they would have made a clear provision in that behalf. What is this? Gajendra Katkar, he said, means Chief Justice, saying that Parliament have power to amend the Constitution. If they intended to exclude fundamental rights from the amending power of the Constitution, Parliament, they would have made it as express provision. So, since there is no express provision which is excluding fundamental rights from Parliament's amending power, so means here the Supreme Court upheld the judgment in Sankari Prasad case, and adding with that what the CJ said, they would have made express provision, if at all. But there is no express provision in the Constitution. For that reason, the Parliament has power to amend the Constitution. What they said, they did not mention in specific, and there is no specific provision which is excluding Parliament power to amend the Constitution. This judgment also, in the judgment also, what Supreme Court said, Parliament has power to amend the Constitution. Okay. In Sajjan Singh case, but majority judgment, but in minority judgment in Sajjan Singh case, like Hidayatullah and Mudolkar, first time they propounded basic structure theory in this case, but it is a minority judgment. Later it became majority judgment in Keshwananda Bharat case, that is separate. Okay, in about two cases, Sankari Prasad versus State and Sajjan Singh case, both cases, Supreme Court supported the power of Parliament to amend the Constitution, and said in Sajjan Singh case what they did, what this CJ, what did he mention? if at all they intended to exclude fundamental rights from amending power of constitution, they would have made it as a special provision, express provision. So it's not there. That is in two cases. Again, the question raised again, the next case called as Golaknath versus State of Punjab. Year 1971, Supreme Court 1643. Year 1971, Supreme Court 1643. This is also important case, Golaknath versus State of Punjab. So the validity of Constitution's 17th Amendment Act 1964, which inserted certain acts in the 9th schedule, was again challenged. Okay, again they have challenged the 17th Amendment, which inserted 9th schedule, which we have discussed in Fundamental Right chapter. Okay, so what happened in this case? Supreme Court by majority of 6 to 5, prospectively overruled its earlier decision in Shankari Prasad's and Sajjan Singh case and held that Parliament had no power from the date of this decision to amend 43 of the Constitution so as to take away or abridge the fundamental rights. Okay, in this case what Supreme Court said? In earlier two cases, Parliament has power to amend the Constitution. In this case, what Supreme Court said? Parliament has no power to amend fundamental rights, to take away or abridge fundamental rights, because the fundamental rights are having specific significance. So what did they said? The Parliament had no power from the date of this decision. From the date of this means onwards. That is called as, we have used the word prospective overruling. Means the judgment is going to apply in the coming cases. Already two judgments were held. Two judgments decided in Shankari Prasad and Sajjan Singh, and government have implemented those acts. The judgment is not going to apply those acts. That is called prospective overruling. If it is retrospective, that is going to apply. But here what is prospective overruling? From the date of the judgment. That is called prospective overruling. What Supreme Court said? Parliament has no power to amend the Constitution. So, if you look at judgment in Golaknath case, the meanings, judgment and reasonings why this judgment is given. Look at the reasons. First one is, court rejected the argument that the power to amend Constitution was a sovereign power. Said, it's not ever sovereign power to amend Constitution as you like. That is called constitutionalism. We have to respect the principles of Constitution. Okay. So, power to amend Constitution is not sovereign power. And what court said in this case? There is an implied limitation on Supreme Court to discuss, to deal it within judicial review. Means the scope of judicial review will apply even to the amendment, because it is also not expressly provided. In the earlier case, Shankar Prasad case, what said? Sajjan Singh case, there is no express limitation. At the same time, there is an express limitation as to whether Supreme Court has power or not. So it is implied limitation. Supreme Court has power to look into this amendment in the context of judicial review. And what Supreme Court said in continuation in this judgment, the power of Parliament to amend Constitution is derived from Article 245, read with entry 97, list 1 of the Constitution, and not from Article 368. So what Supreme Court said? 368 deals with what? Procedure to amend the Constitution. Actually, this power derived from Article 245. Go through the Article 245. So here what is there in 368? 368 only deals with procedure to amend constitution. Means 368 is confined to what? Procedure to amend constitution. Okay. So here it is a legislative power and it did not permit any implied limitations. And Article 368 lays down merely the procedure for amendment of constitution. Article 368 only speaks about procedure to amend constitution, not more than anything. So amendment is a legislative process. Got my point? Article 368 deals with what? Procedure to amend constitution. Originally this power derived from Article 245. Okay. And an amendment is a law within the meaning of Article 13(2). Therefore, it violates any fundamental rights. It may be declared as void. The basic question. Amendment is a law. Yes. Amendment means, in the name of amendment, what we are doing? We are modifying constitution. We are altering the provisions of constitution. So, if it is a law, it will come within the purview of Article 13(2). Once it is coming into 13 clause 2, that is subject to scope of judicial review because it has no power to take away or abridge fundamental rights in the constitution. Based on that, they have given this judgment. Okay, means amendment is a law within the meaning of Article 13 clause 2. Then you may ask, then what is the use of 368? 368 simply mentioning about the procedure to amend constitution by legislature. That's all. Okay. So Chief Justice said fundamental rights are assigned transcendental place under our constitution. Okay. So, and why they have applied prospect to overruling means the decisions have only prospective operation. First, 4th and 17th amendments will continue to be valid. It means that the cases decided before, that is what I told you, prospective overruling means the former cases. Mean the last two cases. So, in this case, this is called Golaknath versus Union, State of Punjab. So, what happened in Golaknath case? In Golaknath case, what happened? The amendment made to the constitution is coming within the purview of judicial review. So, in last two cases, what they said? Amendment is a special area which cannot be looked into by court. Means the court has no power to apply the scope of judicial review in the last two cases. But in Golaknath case, what Supreme Court said? Parliament has no power to amend fundamental rights in the Constitution, and said that the amendment is also a law within the meaning of Article 13, Clause 2. In Article Clause 2, you will see the power of judicial review and way how it is going to apply. Golaknath case. So these are the three cases. First two cases, power to amend constitution of the parliament is unlimited. In this case, parliament power is limited, and said it is implied limitation on the part of the constitution. Okay, and they have highlighted the significance of fundamental rights in constitution. So if it is the process, if you follow the process as like ordinary law, even in case of fundamental rights, there is no meaning for the significance of fundamental rights if the parliament is having unlimited power. But Golaknath case said, Golaknath case curtailed the power of parliament to amend constitution. Curtail the power of parliament to amend the constitution, said, and if amendment is taking place, it is subject to judicial review. Amendment means amendment of fundamental rights. the three cases. Means what happened? 1950 to 1971, in the first 2 decades, the parliament power is unlimited. Later what happened in Golaknath case also, prospective overruling mean they did not touch upon first 2 judgments. So with this you have understood some part of this amendment and these 3 cases, because the next topic we are going to look into the important case called as Keshavananda Bharati case, in which again the power of parliament to amend the constitution was challenged. Very important case. Okay, so in the next class we are going to discuss about these 2. In these 3 cases, we came to know some amendment process to amend the constitution and powers of parliament. Kindly go through these 3 cases. Without going through these 3 cases, it is very difficult to understand this important case, Keshavananda Bharati case, in which the basic structure is propounded. Because we have to deal this particular case, the case in particular. That is the reason why I am stopping with this Golaknath case to understand. The remainder we will discuss it as a separate topic. We will take 2 or 3 classes to Keshavananda Bharati case. Okay. If you understood Keshavananda Bharati, you will understand the power of parliament to amend the constitution, because it is a very important case, Keshavananda Bharati case. Okay. So we are going to meet tomorrow.